everyone. My name is Steele. Welcome to the Leader's Edge. We're so glad you're here today. And I'm your co-host, and with my other co-host, Ernie Dacumos, my partner in leadership. And I'm so glad to be back on this last week I was gone and we had a guest host for us. And so this week, actually, we have a guest. She is the guest this week. So I'm excited about that. We've had a great time. And Ernie, it's been a great week. It's been a lot of extra work of different things that I'm doing, but it's been a great work, and I'm so glad to be back today, Ernie. So listen, tell us a little bit about who we have today. I know everybody knows her, but let's talk about her.
Yes. Let's give her the honor of learning more about her. And partner, welcome back. I missed you last week, and today is a little bit unique.
Yeah,
because I may have to take over from time to time, but we'll
I'm still very remote.
Yes,
so
if I
fade in and out, and if you're watching and you're listening, if I fade in and out, I'll hop back in as quick as I can. So, but
yes.
I'm very remote. So, but it's been great. So take it away, Ernst.
Yes. Our guest was actually our guest co-host last week. So, okay, fine. I will not share her name again. So she is a dynamic neuroscientist, board certified behavior analyst, and Maxwell Leadership certified coach dedicated to empowering leaders and teams through the science of behavior and the art of leadership. As CEO of Dynamic Empowerment Solutions LLC, she provides transformative coaching masterminds and professional development for executives and organizations seeking clarity, confidence, and connection. A sought after speaker on neurodiversity, leadership, and communication, she blends neuroscience and behavioral insight to help individuals uncover patterns, maximize strengths, and turn obstacles into opportunities, unlocking lasting success in both personal and professional life. Everyone, please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Brynn Dombroski.
Yay!
Hey
Dr.
guys, thank you so much.
Long time no see.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much for having me again. I love your show. You guys are amazing.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Brynn, thank you so much for filling in for me last week. I really
it was my pleasure.
That. It was actually, I watched the show from a different part of the country, and I tell you, it was wonderful. You guys did an amazing job, and I'm so proud that you were taking my spot. So get ready. You may have to do it again sometime, like today.
Absolutely.
If I end up popping in and out. So I'm still very remote. So the hotspot's a little tricky sometimes. So
no worries.
But anyway,
no worries at all.
Yeah. So I understand that you and Ernie got together last week and planned the show.
We sure did.
Kind of colluded together and said, okay, what are we going to do? So really, I guess I'm going to turn this over to Ernie because I think it was Ernie's kind of idea. So Ernie, tell me why you guys planned the show. And you might tell the title of the show as well. Why you planned it the way you planned it.
Yes. So the title of the show is "'Tis the Season to be Self-Aware, Mastering Conversations and Connections," obviously with our beautiful guest, Dr. Brynn Dombroski. How we came up with the topic is because Dr. Brynn is very good in communication. And part of communication is obviously talking to people in certain occasions. And since the holidays coming up, everyone goes through I wouldn't say dreadful moments or situations, but it's more so of networking because there's galas that are happening, there's events, Thanksgiving that are happening. So it's more so on those types of situations, and at the same time, reunions.
Yeah.
When you're flying over to meet with family and meeting your in-laws and having the holidays with them, those are the things that some people stress about, and it actually is correlated to communication, right, Dr. Brynn?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like why don't we just go ahead and start the awkward encounters that we have with people, because those are always, let's get those out of the way. All of our failures.
Awkward.
Yeah. So, gosh. So when you're meeting somebody that you like, actually, there's so many different approaches we can start with. So how about maybe we'll start with let's start with work. We'll talk about work stuff. So maybe you're meeting somebody for the first time, and you want to make sure you start with a great impression. Well, what a lot of people forget is your first impression isn't always you introducing yourself to that person. It's that person seeing you from a distance. So how you treat people when you don't think anyone is watching is just as important as when you know people are watching. So a
I
good
love that.
yeah. Well, a good example is so all three of us are speakers, and so a lot of times people might see you behind the scenes talking to the staff, and if it looks like you've got the hand gesture going, like you're like ridicule or you're just like criticizing somebody or you just look like an angry person. If
Mhm.
people that's your first impression, people are not going to be looking forward to you speaking. But if people see you like smiling and you see like you're just nodding your head and you seem engaged, people are gonna be like, oh wow, that's our speaker, oh I can't wait to hear the topic. People are just so much more interested in you because there's this sense of curiosity, like, oh, I want to know that person more, versus like, oh, I don't want to know anything about that person. So
Oh, I love that. But I have a question, Dr. Bryn. So, has personality type um eh, been a factor when it comes to talking to other people?
oh,
Because I know I do
absolutely.
have that issue.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we could start with, I think a lot of people are familiar with whether you're an extrovert or an introvert or it's kind of that in between. A lot of people will say, well, I'm introverted, so I don't like talking to people. I mean, that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of people who are introverted who really shine when it's on a one-on-one situation. Maybe
Hmm.
you're meeting somebody for coffee, or it's a one phone conversation. It's just maybe in a group setting, they're a little more laid back or not
Yes.
so engaged. So that's the first thing that people think of is, are you introverted, introverted or extroverted? So obviously the people who are extroverted are going to appear as more engaging. Um, but that's not to say that we shouldn't consider people who are also introverted. So when we're talking about different personality styles, obviously we've got a variety of different ways that you can assess yourself. All three of us are really familiar with DISC personality assessment,
Hmm.
and so your D's and your C's are going to be more task oriented. Your I's and your S's are going to be more people oriented. And typically within the first couple of minutes when you talk to somebody, you can kind of sense if they're the kind of get down to business, or they're the tell me about your life and your family and what else is going on kind of conversation. So
Dr. Bryn,
yeah.
for the listeners who don't understand DISC, or our viewers who don't understand, can you tell what the DISC
Yeah,
stands for?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
So the D is dominant, right? So you have a very dominant personality. You're somebody who's very direct. The I is very influential. You're somebody who is definitely more people oriented. The S is somebody who is stable, steady. They're also people oriented. And then your C's are your more the folks that are very compliant. So they are also very task oriented, like the D's. So just that's kind of a quick broad overview. We'll talk a little bit more about those unique personality styles as we get into some of the interactions that we see. So,
Yes.
how about some awkward stories? I can tell you that um, I Ernie and I actually chatted a little bit about one of my awkward stories. So I was, especially during the holidays, if you're flying anywhere, and the weather isn't the greatest, you can anticipate that there'll probably be a lot of delays or cancellations. So I
Hmm.
would I would always suggest that people be prepared for that. If you think that that's not going to happen to you, that's silly. You should just always be prepared
Mhm.
for the worst, expect the best. So, in doing so, one of the things that people may not even be thinking about is make sure like your health is where it should be. So, stay hydrated definitely before you do any kind of flying. You want to also make sure that your immune system is at the best. So I'm somebody who likes to drink those emergency drinks. It's the powder mix that you put in water.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like those. A lot of other people don't, but that works. There's also like a vitamin C one. So make
Hmm.
sure that you have some of that ahead of time so that you're at your best health, because nobody really likes to interact with people who are sneezing, coughing, just kind of looking and kind of oozing of illness.
Sticky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So for me, one of the it was started out awkward, but then it ended up being such a great connection. After several delays and complete changes from this airline to that airline to just so I could get home, I was kind of racing against time because I had purchased one of those. It's like a discount if you pay for it here, but you like it's a you don't what do they say, there's no cancellations kind of deal. So I had a reservation for a rental car, and unfortunately they closed by the time my flight finally arrived. So I was like, oh
Wow.
no, like what am I going to do? I don't have a car, I can't get anywhere. So thankfully I had been in touch with the whoever was working at that particular place the entire time. Every time I landed somewhere, I'm like, hey, this is me again. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know when my flight's coming in. Da, 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 da. So at the last time I talked to this person, they said, they're really sorry. They couldn't stay open longer for me, but they can go ahead and move my reservation. So I was like, okay, great. So then I was like, well, what do I do now? Like, I'm just going to sleep at the airport. Yeah. So then I thankfully was walking and I saw a big sign for Marriott, and I was like, oh, the Marriott's attached to this airport. I was so excited. So I went ahead, got a room at the Marriott, but I was starving because I don't like to eat while I travel because you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, get
Yes.
sick and whatever. So, um, so I go to the bar, and there was someone who seemed like their personality wasn't exactly the kind of personality I would normally like to engage with, but I was starving. So they invited me to sit next to them. So I sat next to them. And then normally I try to stay to myself. I don't like to like divulge that I'm a neuroscientist, this, that, and the other. It kind of sounds a little like, you know, hoity-toity. I don't want people to.
Complicated.
Yes, yeah. And so I just, yeah, just kind of wanted to just have a laid back, just give me a burger and some fries and a Coke and I'd be good, just to fill in all the nutrients that I was missing throughout the day. But yeah, no. So this individual offered for me to sit down next to them, and I was kind of like, well, all right, God, let's see where this conversation goes. And for whatever reason, I felt like I needed to actually just kind of like throw out some stats about myself, and so I did. Started like, well, I'm a neuroscientist, da 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 da. I go to University of Louisville School of Medicine, da 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 da. And then I talked about this project that I was working on, where I was collaborating in the neurocognitive lab, and we were doing research with prism lenses and vision motor therapy. This guy, all of a sudden, it's like his personality shifted. He was so interested in what I was talking about. And it turns out that he actually was a former Major League Baseball player turned sports psychologist. All his clients are professional baseball players. He fully believes in vision therapy and wanted to know everything that I knew about it. So I was like, wow,
Mm.
I would have thought. Like, it felt really
Hmm.
awkward initially, but it turned into a really great conversation. And to this day, we still stay in touch periodically. So,
Oh,
I
that's
love
beautiful.
that.
yeah.
It's one of those things that we, hesitate so much into taking the initiative to, but those moments can be an avenue for a great connection.
Yeah.
If I could share my pain points, oh my goodness, we talked
Yes.
about personality type. I am an introvert, as if you have been listening or watching us for a long time now. I am an introvert and I own it. What introverts what introverts feel, I mean, I can speak for myself, but if you can connect, I would love to hear about it. So with what I have learned in my journey is, it's not that we do not like people. It's just that, well, I mean, I love talking to people. It's just that it drains our energy when we are around people.
Oh,
And Mr. Steele actually knows this. When my energy dies down, he knows that it's my energy is getting drained. So,
mm,
hence, we do not thrive for a long time in public places.
yeah.
So when it comes to networking, when it comes to gala, when it comes to events, it really, really drains a lot of my energy. But there, I believe last year was one of those events wherein I was obligated to meet a lot of people. And what I do in those moments, and to this day, actually, to this day, whenever I speak, I have to have it done on either morning or evening part of the day. And
Mm,
then the rest of the day, I have to recuperate because it really drains my energy, but it does not stop me from speaking. So
mm,
it's just one of those things that when I have to speak in front of people, yeah, it drains a lot of my energies. But with my experience, even though it happens to me, it does not mean that it will stop me. So it's just one of those things that learning, hence this is self-awareness. I know now that when I'm speaking, I have to prepare my energy for it, which means a good night's sleep, right?
yes.
And then after that speaking or that gala or that event is, I will have my solitude moment
Mhm.
to myself so that I can regain the energy. So that's one of the things that I have learned. Partner, what is your
Well,
you are an
yeah,
extrovert. You
I'm an
drain my
extrovert.
energy.
Yeah, I don't have a drain of energy. I usually have more energy than I need. I have to, I when I get real tired, my energy deflates some, but most of the time I'm pretty high on energy. But I want to throw something. I want to unpack this a little bit. You're a
Okay.
neuroscientist, Dr.
Yes.
Brynn. Now, this may not be in the script that you ladies provided because I can't see the script that you guys provided.
Yes, yes,
But
yes,
Oh, that-
yes, yes.
I'm going to throw this out there, okay? Because it really does matter how our minds work, right? How our
Oh,
minds
yeah.
think about all people that we meet or different things that we take place in our life, right? So I'm going to
Yeah.
give you a quote that I heard. I told Ernie this earlier this morning when we were talking, but this
Yes.
quote is a powerful quote. And I absolutely think that we can apply that to here, okay?
Yeah.
So here's the quote, Dr. Brynn. I want you to really think about this, and I want you to add to
Okay.
it. All suffering, whether we're suffering with anxiety or we're suffering with our story or trauma or overwhelmed or whatever, all suffering is a result of our own thinking.
Ooh.
Now, let me tell you why. So let me give you an example. Just say we're wanting to meet somebody or we're having to network and we dread it. We're not, it's overwhelmed. There's a lot of people here. We're overwhelmed.
Yep.
It's not the fact that we have to talk to the people. It's the fact that our suffering is that
Yep.
it's the thought of having to talk to all the people.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And that when that thought happens, that stirs up anxiety, that stirs up overwhelmness, that stirs up the more primal part of who we are versus the more powerful person who we are. Does that make sense?
It sure does.
So, so think about that. I want you to elaborate on that some. I think it's a wonderful thing.
It really is. So there's definitely been some research on the power in positive versus negative self-talk. And probably one of my favorite conversations about this is from Simon Sinek, where he interviewed the Navy SEALs, and he wanted to know, how do you know who's going to really make it as a Navy SEAL? And then in that conversation, he learned that there was a time where they weren't meeting their quota. There just wasn't enough people making it through the SEALs training. And they actually brought in experts to try to figure out what was lacking. And they found out that adding positive self-talk and literally teaching their recruits to engage in positive self-talk while they're undergoing and enduring such challenging circumstances was what made a big difference. And so there's also research that shows that it's great when somebody says something to you to help you feel motivated. Like, you got this, like, one more lap to go, like, keep going, you're strong. Like, that's really helpful. What's more helpful is when you say it to yourself, when you say, I got this, like, I'm one step at a time. Like, I see the finish line. I see me crossing that finish line. When you talk to yourself from the first person, that's even more powerful than when somebody is just cheering you on. Now, of course, the cheering on helps, but you got to be your own cheerleader inside of you too, in order to cross that finish line. And just like what you said, as far as suffering. So unfortunately, people do get stuck in those patterns, and they do tend to ruminate on the things that are causing a lot of stress and anxiety. So maybe, for a lot of us, it's going to be our insecurities. So if you're insecure about the way you look, or if you're insecure about, maybe especially during the holiday season, if you're somebody who recently lost your job, or, maybe a relational status change. So maybe people always knew you to be with a partner. Now you're not with that partner anymore. How do you show up in those same, settings without your partner? Some people feel like, well, that was my better half. We hear people say, right. And that's not necessarily your better half. It's just the other person that you were with. So, maintaining that you are worthy, you are valuable just as you are. That's really hard for a lot of people to feel that, because for so long they either never heard it, so it's just completely foreign to them that anyone would ever think that they're valuable or worthy, or they've been unfortunately reading a script in their head that they're not worthy, they're not valuable. They've been focusing on the things that didn't go their way, all the failures, all the things that they wish they had accomplished that they haven't accomplished yet. And so if you focus on, what are all the things that I have done, which is where, many of us, we're all entrepreneurs and also, leaders. Sometimes we forget to pause and celebrate the small wins, but that's so important too. So,
I
but
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, going to what you said, Steve,
When we
I
come
do.
back, I got some more to this. So,
Oh wow, we're getting ready for this. Well, we will need to take a quick break. Dr. Brynn just shared. Actually, we just went over the topic this morning and kind of dive deeper on the self-awareness part of it. When we return, we will go through each situation and how you can handle connection, or how can you connect and communicate on each situation. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Yeah.
Do you want to grow a team of transformational leaders who can take your organization to the next level? Do you want to attract, retain, and develop top talent? Do you want to leverage generational insights and improve your employees' communication, interpersonal, and productivity skills? If your answer is yes to any or all of these, you are in the right place. Steve Steele and Ernie Dacumos, hosts of The Leader's Edge, are seasoned coaches and facilitators with Maxwell Leadership Team. They will leverage leadership content, tools, and resources to help turn your leaders into transformational leaders with influence and impact, so everyone wins. This highly effective program not only provides the knowledge and skills necessary to lead, coach, and communicate more effectively, but Steve and Ernie have resources available to impact others throughout your organization so that everyone can be led well. So contact us at pathtoleadersedge@gmail.com and let Steve and Ernie help grow your organization by creating an influence in which others want to engage.
hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. My name is Steve Steele, alongside my co-host Ernie Dacumos, and our special guest today, Dr. Brynn Dombroski. And wow, that was a great segment. I loved it, but I'm not done. I got some more questions.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think I'm throwing your script away.
So, Dr. Brynn, we did talk a little bit about, all suffering that takes place in our life, and the anxieties, the stress, the overwhelmness that comes in our life is really a result of our own thinking. Now, the way I understand it, we live basically in two states in our life, a power state and a primal state. And both can't coexist at the same time. You're either in a power state of being, or you're in a primal state of being, right?
Yeah.
So it's not what somebody really says that brings you the suffering, but it's actually the belief that you shouldn't have, they shouldn't have said it, that brings us our suffering, because we believe they shouldn't have said that. It's not what they said, but it's a belief of it, right? So can you talk about a little bit about those limiting beliefs that we have as people, especially when we're trying to make connections, when we're trying to talk to people that are our family members, or people that are in networking, or different things like that, because sometimes we don't feel like we're worthy, right?
Yeah.
Those limiting beliefs. So
Yeah.
Wait, can I give, before you answer that, Dr. Brynn, can I give an example?
Yes.
Networking events. I am a new business owner who would love to get out there and get to know people, but I am not a big fan of networking.
Okay. That's great example.
And I am a big fan of networking. I network a lot. I network a lot.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So a lot of the limiting beliefs around, let's say, going to a networking meeting is a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm not ready yet. Like if you're a brand new entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I don't really have business cards yet. You know what? That's okay. You can have a digital business card. In fact, I prefer a digital business card because I can change anything that I want. I can add different links to it. So it just makes it a lot easier, instead of, having all of these, printed business cards that you can't change it. Once you have a printed copy, it's what it is. So a lot of people feel they're not ready. Maybe they don't have a website yet, and they're like, well, I don't have a website, I'm not official. Yes, you are. If you have an LLC, or however you set up your business, you're official. So I think a lot of times people, do get stuck on the whole I'm not ready yet, but really you are. You just have to show up, because really it's you're the billboard of whatever it is that you're providing, whether it's a product or a service. So if it's a product, ideally you want to have some kind of sample with you to show people, or maybe you have how you show up to these networking meetings. Maybe you have a shirt that has, a picture of whatever you do. So if you're somebody who's doing home reconstruction. Like maybe you have like a little house picture on your shirt, so people will see it and be like, "Oh, are you in housing? Like, what do you do with houses?" It just
Yeah.
kind of naturally causes people to ask questions, so they can kind of get to know you a little bit better. Also, I've seen people show up to networking meetings wearing like power shirts, that says like I'm strong, or like I got this, something that, is also a conversation starter. Like, oh, that's a really cool shirt. Like, did you have it made? Like, did you just buy it? Is this part of who you are? Especially if you're a coach, maybe you have a certain like slogan that you're known by. That might be a good idea to wear that. And if you don't have that, that's okay. Like, you could still show up to a networking meeting ready. The most important thing is, what are your goals of the networking meeting? So I think a lot of the limiting beliefs come from not realizing that you should always have a goal. Like, is your goal to meet 2 people? Is it to meet 3 people? Is it to, for those people to know who you are? Like, what's your goal? And so when you know what your goal is, then you can stay more focused on that. So maybe your goal is, I just want to set, a Zoom meeting or an in-person coffee meeting with 2 people. Okay, great. That's your goal. So, and for some of you, especially like Ernalita was saying that, you only have so much energy. So maybe the networking event is for 2 hours and you're like, I know I can't do that. That's okay. Just plan for how long you're going to be there. Just say, I'm going to be there for an hour and I want to meet 2 people and schedule coffee with them. Great. So that's your goal. Go in there, do that, and then head out. It's perfectly fine. Other limiting beliefs, I would say, is some people feel like I'm not memorable. And so this is where we're going to get into the name game here, because we talked a little bit about this last week. So Ernie, actually, if you don't mind sharing this week, what are some names people have called you before?
Ernestina, or Erlilita, and Jennifer.
Jennifer too. That one's like, what? Where did that come from?
I have been called Jennifer.
I know. Steve, has anyone ever messed up your name before?
Oh, that when I was in junior high, I got called all kinds of names. My last name is Steele, right? So I got called tinfoil. I got called stainless. I got called all these. And when I was playing football, they called me stainless, which was kind of cool. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But being called tinfoil when I was in junior high was not fun.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. So it was Names like that.
I completely relate. Actually, so you guys all know I'm Brynn, but I've had people call me Bree, or people have called me Bryn Tintin. I've been called Benjamin. I've been called Brendolyn. I've been called Burn, because I guess maybe somebody was dyslexic. They confused the Y and the R. Definitely Brian. I get that all the time. I always get Brian. Sometimes it's Brianne. So there's a couple different things that you can do when you have a name that is maybe not easy for other people to pronounce, or it's not easy for people to easily repeat, or it just doesn't stick. So some tips there. Hopefully you have like a nickname. So like Ernalita goes by Ernie, right? Yes. So that's pretty easy for people. Another thing you could do is create a mnemonic, help somebody to figure out how to say your name. Again, all of us are public speakers. So I know we've been on some platforms with some people who have very unique names from other foreign countries. And what I like to do is phonetically spell out their name so that I pronounce it correctly whenever I'm actually speaking with them. Now, if you're somebody who has one of those names, you can certainly spell it out phonetically for folks. If you do have either a digital or a print business card, that might be helpful. I've never actually seen anyone do that, but I think that would be really helpful if you wanted people to remember you. You could also do an alliteration with your name. So maybe you're, or even a rhyme, alliteration or a rhyme. So maybe you're early Ernie, like you're always at the networking meetings early, or with me, I usually, this came actually from a client I had many years ago. The mom had, the kiddo's name was Quinn. My name's Brynn. It rhymes. And so she said, Brynn and Quinn for the win. And so now I say Dr. Brynn for the win, because it rhymes. And so, but it's catchy. And then I also say, for me, when I introduce myself, I typically say Dr. Brynn, because it's a lot easier than saying Dr. Brynn Dombroski, because then the Brynn and Dombroski people get it confused. And I don't want people to feel awkward when they're trying to say my name. So I try to I shorten it. So if you can shorten your name, or if you could give yourself a nickname or help people to pronounce your name, that's going to be a win right there. Now, Mnemonics are great, especially if you're trying to remember somebody else's name. But then also, if you're trying to remember somebody, think about like what they do. Like I remember one time I was at a networking meeting and I saw this guy, he said, trust the guy in the bow tie. And so I remember that. I don't necessarily remember exactly what he does. I think he does something in insurance, but come up with a slogan that also goes with who you are. That's going to help you to be memorable. So we talked about, overcoming some of your fears of not being ready, just showing up. I think the most important thing you can show up with is a smile, to be honest. So
Yes.
that's the most inviting thing that you can do is smile at people. And then what you wear is important. Definitely have a pitch of some kind ready to share with people. Be prepared to share with people what it is that you do, how you make people feel. And then we talked about maybe if you have a tricky name or, how to make that less awkward.
Yes. Can I add something to that? This is my
Yes.
strategy.
Yeah.
So I am an introvert. It drains my energy, but what I do is bring somebody, a wingman, who is an extrovert.
Yeah.
And trust me, before you get to the second person, they have talked to everyone in that room and have
Yep.
and it would basically have introduced me indirectly and say, "Oh, I'm with the friend right here. This is Ernie."
Yep.
It's one of my strategies. I know it's not a pro moment, but it's a strategy because instead of you actually doing all the talk, there is a conversation starter. And then once you make it to that individual, it's like, oh, yes, this person
Yes.
had shared me things about you. So that's another strategy that I use.
Yes, I do a similar strategy. So if well, let's backtrack. So some people who don't feel really comfortable going and talking to multiple people, they try to find one person they feel really comfortable with, but sometimes they can monopolize your time and your attention. And so if you feel like you're like, okay, I've been talking to this person for 5 minutes and there's like 20 other people I want to see in the room, you want to strategize. How do you end that conversation where that person doesn't feel like you no longer care about them or what they're saying? So you want to make sure you're adding value to them, but also you have the opportunity to move around and talk to other people. So kind of what you're saying is like, maybe I'll see somebody that I recognize that I maybe met right before I met this person, or maybe at the last networking event. And I'll say, oh gosh, have you met so-and-so? Like, you're in the wine business and this person actually owns a restaurant. I think this would be a really great connection. Let me introduce you. So then you can go grab that person, bring them in.
Yes.
It's always really, it's flattering, but it's always just an honor to be able to introduce people, kind of give their little spiel for them. So maybe some people aren't really comfortable or they don't really have an elevator pitch yet, but if you can kind of collect in your mind everything that they just shared with you and summarize it within a few sentences, then you can say, oh, hey, so-and-so, I'd like to introduce you to this person does da 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 da. And then so-and-so, I'd like to introduce you to this person. And then, in that moment, they're both in like awe of what you just shared about themselves. But then they're also like, ooh, yeah. And they may not necessarily see the connection. So you see the connection, you see how it could be profitable for them to connect. And when you put that out there, that gives them a reason to communicate. And so that's another way to do that.
I love that. Definitely love that.
Dr. Brynn, what if though you come across a person who's kind of grumpy?
Oh,
You need to leave the networking event.
yes.
What do you do there?
Yeah. So, usually trying to find something that you can agree on. So maybe it could be the weather. Like maybe the weather isn't the best, and you'd be like, "Man, this weather, it's just like cold and wet. It just kind of, it's not my favorite." And just see if that maybe you get a little bite of something from that person. I like to kind of break into jokes. I'm not like a comedian by any means, but people do tell me I'm funny. So I usually try to find something to find humor in. And sometimes you might poke fun at yourself just to see if you can get that person to smile or crack a joke, or you crack a joke and see if they'll actually laugh at it. Another thing might be, if it could be that they are actually hangry. So you might offer like, hey, did you, especially if there's food, you'd be like, hey, did you see they have, appetizers over there? Have you tried any yet? And they might, that might actually be what it takes to perk that person up. They might be like, there's food? What?
Yeah.
Yes. So
I love that.
Which kind of leads us into the parties kind of thing,
yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Whew, yeah, parties. So to set yourself up for success, the first thing you want to do is figure out what kind of party is it? What do I need to wear? And then once you know what's appropriate for you to wear, you need to also figure out the food situation. So is it a potluck? Are you expected to bring your own dish? Does it make sense for you to actually do all the work to like make it yourself, or could you just buy it from a store? I know a lot of people struggle with, like the trust issue. Like, I don't know if I trust that, other people have the same like kitchen hygiene as I do. So if that's something that's concerning for you, then I would say probably eat before you go to the potluck, and then just kind of stick to the things that are store bought. That way you're still participating and you're still eating something, but you're being very cautious about what you eat so that you don't get sick. So cocktail parties are kind of similar, but there's also something to consider for a cocktail party is usually you don't have like tables to sit at. You might have a high top, or it's just standing room only. So you got to just be strategic about how you hold your drink cup and your plate. A lot of times you can actually hold them in the same hand. Make sure you get a napkin to go with that. So just keeping that in mind as well. When it comes to alcohol, I know that this is pretty common. Yeah, this is pretty common with a lot of events, is that there will be alcohol. A lot of times it's going to be cash bar. So like if you want alcohol, you have to pay for it yourself. But sometimes they actually provide alcohol, and they might give you like a drink ticket. Totally up to you. But I would always say drink in moderation if you are somebody who drinks alcohol. If you're somebody who really doesn't, then just don't. There's no obligation for you to drink. It's perfectly okay for you to even tell people like, oh, I don't drink. And I do that quite a bit. I don't drink. So I tell people I don't drink. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want anyone to feel bad that they're drinking in front of me, but that's their prerogative. And if you are somebody who feels, like, oh, I feel the pressure to drink, you can get a mocktail, so it's a drink that looks like a regular drink, but there's no alcohol in it.
Yeah. And obviously, if you're driving, don't drink alcohol. Right?
Absolutely. Always have a plan.
Be responsible. Take an Uber or a Lyft or something.
Definitely. Pictures can be a little awkward too. So I would say some of the things that you want to keep in mind is if you're going to be posing with people, practice your poses before you go. Like, how do you want to pose? Like, you don't want to kind of be like the tree trunk. Like, that's kind of awkward. Ladies typically crossing one leg over the other and kind of leaning in a little bit. That would be, that's going to be more appealing in a picture. We learned at one of our international Maxwell conferences that you should actually kind of like stick your chin out more when somebody's taking a picture, and it should always be from a higher angle. So that's really helpful when you have those tips. I think too, we kind of take for granted that we think that the younger generation, they're more tech savvy than we are, so they probably are better at taking pictures. That's not true. Some of them are the worst. So if you are worried about what that picture is going to look like, do take the time to take a look at it. And if you don't feel confident that that person can do that again and do it better, ask somebody else. Just ask somebody else. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have a couple of minutes before the commercial, but talk to me about family. When it comes to dealing with family,
that can be a tough one.
That can be
a tough one.
Yeah. So a lot of times, we're told like stay away from some of those hot button topics, politics especially. And I think a lot of times family members want to know like, well, what side are you on? So try your best to just kind of focus on what are some other things you can talk about. So talk about like, what are some of your successes for this past year? What are, some projects that you're working on, maybe some passion projects, or maybe what do you have coming up? So try to kind of steer the conversation as best you can. Try to, stay as neutral as you can about things like, political parties. And, if you hear somebody starting to kind of like, if it's sounds more like people are trying to talk bad about other people, or they're trying to spread some rumors, it's always good to, you want to be the one that's caught saying something kind about someone behind their back, not saying something negative. So you could always say like, well, every time I interact with Ernie, like I always leave that conversation feeling so excited and just energized for the rest of my day, and when somebody hears that, they hear you talking good about somebody, that they're going to understand like, this is not a person that I can gossip to, because they will call me out. So that's really good that you say good things about people, not bad things. I would say too, thanks. I would say too, prepare for prepare for the worst always. So if you've got kiddos that are involved, nowadays, I know a lot of kids are really into their electronics, but pack a bag of, some games. If you can get even the travel board games or card games. My favorite card games for kids, Blink. It's a super fast game to play. You just match color, shape, or number. Anyone can learn how to play, whether you're age 2 or 100. You could absolutely play Blink. Other games might be like Spot It. That's another fun one to play. Teach kids how to play games like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Teach them how to play simple games like Duck, Duck, Goose. When kiddos know how to play these kind of games, they now have something they can invite peers to play with, especially if you're going to be at a family function. You don't want the kids always, in the same room with you when you're having adult conversations, because they might hear things get a little heated. So we want kids to always, be somewhere where they're having fun and engaging and really just kind of exercising their minds. So
I love that.
Yeah, I would say music too. Music's always good. Especially for the holidays, a lot of people love holiday music. Just kind of sets a good tone. Just kind of like a just very festive atmosphere. Something that I think a lot of people dread is the bathroom situation, whether you're at a family member's home or you're at the office. They do make something called poopery. And while this might, I know it's crazy. This is
real stuff.
Yes, it's real. And I actually went to someone's house party for Thanksgiving several years ago, and I just thought it was really sweet, thoughtful, but also kind of comical. Her gift for everyone was a little bottle of poopery, and I just thought, how clever is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do not put yourself in those situations. I love that idea for sure. With that being said, we will need to take a quick break. So we just actually went over each potential situation, right? Networking, holiday parties, and being with families when it comes to connecting and communicating. We will need to take a quick break, but when we return, we will talk about DISC again, which is a personality test, I guess, if you want to call it that,
Assessment.
and how it can benefit you when it comes to these events. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com/Steve Steele.
Do you ever find yourself battle with self-doubt? Or struggle with trusting in yourself? Or wishing that you have more self-confidence to go after what you truly want? My name is Ernie Dacumos, and I know what it feels like to shrink, second guess, and silence yourself. But I also know that you don't have to stay there. You have the power within you to rise, own your story, and step into the confident version of yourself. Through Confidently You LLC, I help women just like you break free from self-doubt and build the courage to thrive in both life and leadership. Together, we will uncover strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to transform the way you see yourself. And if you're ready to stop shrinking and start shining, I would love to help you. Visit me today at confidentlyu.club, because I am a firm believer that confidence isn't just for some people, it is for you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Leader's Edge. This is your co-host Ernie Dacumos. I think we lost Mr. Steele, and we are back with our gorgeous guest, Dr. Brynn Dombroski. Hi, Dr. Brynn.
Hey, Ernie, it's such a pleasure to be back with you guys again. Oh man, hopefully Steve will pop in as soon as he can. I know he will.
Yes,
But
yes,
man, so far we've talked quite a bit about how to set ourselves up for success in terms of communicating and connecting when we're at a networking event, when we're at a holiday party, when we're at a family function.
yes.
Um, I think, yeah, but maybe the only other thing that we didn't get to touch base on was waiting in long lines or when you're at those events. So like, if you're going to be doing one of those like drive-through Christmas light shows or one of the walk-through Christmas light shows, how do you prepare for that? So,
Oh,
um,
like shopping. Please talk to me about
yes.
shopping. Being in line in the especially what Black Friday. It's
Oh,
coming up.
yes. Yes.
So please share this strategy with me. I don't think I will be on those lines, but
Oh my goodness.
introvert.
I'm with you. So here's actually a really cool fact. So in 2024, so just last year, approximately 152 million people shopped on Black Friday. That's a lot of people. Now with
Yes.
87.3 million people made online purchases and 81.7 million shopping in stores. 81.7
Wow.
million people shopping in stores. That's busy. That's a lot of busy people going on.
Yes.
So,
That
and
was
that,
just
that can
last
be,
year.
yeah, and that can be really overstimulating for a lot of people. So, whew, but you definitely encounter a lot of different personality styles. So sometimes people can be difficult to tolerate because they can be very negative, lots of
Mm-hmm.
negative people out there. Unfortunately, there are people who are named Karen and they hear all the time like somebody's being a Karen. And
Mm-hmm.
in society, we've made that a negative thing. So,
Yeah.
but we know that there are plenty of people named Karen who are very nice. So,
Yes.
but yeah, when people are being negative, you know, you it's so the tricky part is it's easier for people to join in on being negative than it is to be positive. So you have to work that much harder to make an impact and try to get other people to see that you're the example. So when people are in line and the line is taking a really long time, it could be because that one person has all their coupons cut out and they want to make sure that every single coupon is scanned, and someone else in the back of the line might only have a couple items and they're feeling like, hey, can we hurry it up? Well,
Mm-hmm.
you could be helpful. You could say, oh, hey, it looks like that line over there is open, and that looks like, or it's brand new open, like this person just opened it, or hey, that line looks shorter, maybe you go check that out. Or sometimes you can offer somebody to go in front of you, like, hey, you only have a couple items, you're welcome to go in front of me.
Yes.
Or just simply compliment them, even if it's the negative person. Look at them, see something that maybe you can compliment, like maybe you like their shoes or maybe you like their shirt. Compliment them, get them engaging in conversation, help them to pass the time, help them
Mm-hmm.
kind of redirect their attention, because right now they're being negative for some reason, we don't really know why, but we can always make the most of that obligation of being in line by seeing the opportunity in it. And if you're somebody who does have a business of your own, you provide some kind of product or service, you never know, this could be a potential customer of
Mm-hmm.
yours.
Yes, I actually love that because at some point in our lives, I will admit to this, I was one of those difficult people, right?
Yeah.
And it's a matter of having that mindset. Okay, well, it does not mean that you're a bad person. It's just that situation is creating that frustration, and it shows on people. But one day, these people can be people that you can impact, just like your story earlier. It can be a better community. It could lead into a good connection and
Hmm.
that relationship. But I know we're approaching the end of our show, but we talked about disc earlier. Can you like give me a breakdown of, I know you touched on it earlier, but a
Yeah.
deeper breakdown of what disc is and how can that benefit people into dealing with other people?
Yeah. So typically when we look at disc, we're looking at different personality styles that are either more task oriented or more people oriented. So people who
Mhm.
are more task oriented are going to be more of your, they might come across as more of your introverts, not always, but they might come across that way. So the D personality style is very direct. They're very decisive. they don't really have time for a lot of the background information. So if you are encountering somebody who is a D personality style, expect those conversations to be short and straight to the point. If you're trying to, tell about your weekend, or you want to, give details about a report that you worked on, that's not going to be the person you want to have that conversation with, because they're not going to seem as interested. The
Mm-hmm.
style, very influential. These are the people who do want the details. They are probably going to come in and compliment you about what you're wearing, or they're going to talk about an event that happened, and they're going to give all kinds of details. Now, this is a person who loves people, but they may not be so great on follow through or follow up. So they might say, "Oh, we should definitely grab coffee." Just know that this person may not be so great at following up with that. So you have to be the one to schedule that. So make sure you schedule it. The S personality style, they're the ones who probably will follow up, and they're also the ones who will probably have hurt feelings if you don't follow up. So
Mm.
these are the stable, steady folks. They want, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal. But they care deeply about people, and they want
Mm.
that everybody kind of feels seen and heard, and before you make a decision. Now, your C's are your very compliant individuals, but those are also the people who do all the research. So, if you s- they are going to be the ones that want to ask all those questions. So if they're going to buy a car, they're going to ask every single question you can possibly imagine about that car. But if you were to ask a C person some questions, that might start to get them feeling a certain way, because in their mind, they've already done all the research. They already know what the right answer is. So if you're questioning them, like, even though you're questioning just so that you can get more information so you can make an informed decision, they still might feel like it's a personal attack. So just know that when you're interacting with people, if you ask a lot of questions and they seem to get a little bit irritated, could be the C personality style.
I love that. This has been an amazing value, and I'm so glad we decided to go through this. And I hope the
Yes.
listeners found value in this too. Dr. Brynn, I'm sure our viewers and listeners are also curious. What are you currently working on, and how can they connect with you?
Yeah. So I am actually, this is a really exciting thing. So I am moving into a position of the area director of Uniquely You magazine. So Uniquely You is all about highlighting individuals with special needs. So it's children, adolescents, and adults of all different ages within my community. So I'm going to be launching that in the next couple of months. I'm also working on writing some books, so people can be looking forward to seeing some of that. And then I'm actually going to be doing some group coaching here pretty soon as well. So I'm excited about that.
I love it. And I know you have a gift to our viewers.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So if we're able to share that, these are the 7 tips to increase your influence in relationships. So I would highly recommend that if you're going to be going to a networking meeting or a holiday party, definitely check this out. This is free. So just use your QR code to go directly there, fill out your information so I can stay in touch with you. And then you'll get that download, and, just read it over before you go to your events.
Awesome. Dr. Brynn, for our podcast listeners, can we have this linked?
Oh, yeah.
The link to the GIF, and then we can share it on the show description.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me put
Awesome.
that.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for today.
Absolutely.
And do you have anything else to share? I know your contact info is here somewhere.
Yeah. Contact info would be great. So if anyone wants to connect with me on my digital business card, I've got that for them as well.
And Mr. Steele is back in the room.
Yay.
Yeah, can you believe it? Hey, at least it didn't happen at the beginning of the show, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. So I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brynn. And got it.
Yep.
And as far as information on how to contact you, would you like to put that up?
Yep. Are we able to move to the next slide?
To the next slide.
There we go.
You go. Yes. So for our viewers here on social media and YouTube, you can scan the QR code and you can definitely connect with Dr. Brynn. And again, on the show descriptions, we will have her information there. And partner, I believe you have an announcement to make.
Yes, but if I don't break up, so Ernie, if you lose me, you'll have to take over. You'll have to take over, right?
I'll take over.
Before we actually close today, Yeah. Before we close today, Ernie and I have something really special we want to share. This December, Ernie and I are flying to the Philippines for Christmas with natives, which we call Christmas for the Natives. And it's a beautiful tradition of trying to giving joy to our children of Iram and Ernie's home country where she lives. Is
Yes, and he is breaking out. That's right. What started with just a few gifts for 50 kids has grown into celebration for hundreds. Steve and I will be there in person to deliver shoes, toys, and food packs, and more so, love and laughter. And if you'd like to support this mission, you can find the donation link in the show description or reach out to me directly at 707-759-8860. Every act of kindness counts. Thank you for helping us making this Christmas unforgettable. And I think, partner, do you have anything else to say?
No, Dr. Brynn, thank you so much for being here today. Greatly appreciate it. And I really, sometime want to have you on the show where we dive deep into neuroscience.
Oh,
We've
yes.
got
That would be fun.
to do that because I absolutely
Yes.
love that subject. And I know Ernie loves to teach it as well. So I want to just really dive into it some. We'll have you back and do that again, okay?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you guys so much for having me. Always
Yeah.
a pleasure and a privilege.
Yes. And again, just a reminder, if you find value on this content today, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And please subscribe or follow to stay connected. We wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and excited to connect with you next time. But for now, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.